I'm not really sure what's going on with him or what's happened to him throughout the past few months, but it's not been very good. You know, reports say, and even JJ Redick has talked about him looking good in practice, even saying that he's been the best offensive player at their training camp so far, tracking the data saying that he's scored more points than any other player on their team throughout training camp, and has shot at roughly a 60% shooting clip throughout training camp, but it's simply not adding up with him actually on the court. Throughout preseason so far, in nearly 30 minutes per game, Knecht's averaging only 9.4 points per game on a paltry 30.4% from the field and 22.6% from 3, which in comparison to last year throughout preseason, him entering it as a rookie and having no NBA background at all, he averaged more points on less playing time on the court, averaging 18 points per game in 27 minutes per game, not to mention on 44% from the field and 36% from 3, not to mention dropping a 30 bomb while doing it and going absolutely insane from the 3-point line. It barely even looks like the same guy out there. So with that being said, and with that in mind here, what's happened to Dalton Knecht? Is it a confidence issue? Is it a role issue with him? A scheme issue that maybe they change and he's not a good fit for it anymore? Or what's the problem here and can he get out of this funk? We're going to talk about that and go through all of that during today's video. But real quick before we get too far into it, YouTube has not been pushing out my content lately, so I genuinely would appreciate it if you helped out by dropping a like, hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video, as you definitely will if you don't have notifications turned on. But now getting back to our topic and talking about Dalton Knecht, again we're simply not looking at the same guy here in my opinion, not the guy last season who put up 9.1 points per game, shooting 38% from the field and being a pretty reliable rotation option throughout the entire season. Yes, even post All-Star break. I know it's kind of become a narrative to where people say he was bad after the All-Star break, that he was bad after being traded and then being reverted back to their team via the trade not going through. That's simply not the case. Even after that point, Knecht averaged 8.4 points per game on nearly 41% 3-point shooting. No, he may have not played as much, he may have not had as big of a role on their team, and maybe the defense wasn't as good or really wasn't good throughout the entire season. But no, he wasn't bad after the All-Star break, wasn't bad post-trade deadline, but he definitely is bad right now. Again, throughout preseason, the guy's not been good, not putting up a good efficiency, not shooting well from the field, not playing great defense to make up for it, and simply not doing anything good on either end of the court. That's been a problem for him for a couple months. As even going back to Summer League against lesser competition, he once again struggled, only putting up 12 points per game on a paltry 32.1% from the field and 24% from the 3-point line. Again, we might be able to look past the defense or kind of the up and down scoring, but we simply can't look past the one thing they really got drafted for, that being 3-point shooting. At the end of the day here, that really does have to be his calling card. Even if he never turns out to be a great defender, let alone even an average one, he does have to be a very good 3-point shooter. Not only from an efficiency standpoint, but from a volume standpoint, an off-ball mover standpoint, and it's simply not looked that way for quite some time now too. Dating all the way back to late last season, like particularly the end of March going into April, when he wasn't a part of their postseason roster, then heading into Summer League, and now throughout preseason. It's definitely been a problem. And well, at this point, it's definitely had an effect on his trade value, as according to reports and according to Dan Weinke of The Athletic, Dalton Knecht is now viewed as a negative trade asset around the NBA, something that previous reports talked about but were kind of controversial and not fully believed, but now it's kind of been confirmed at this point, not only from the reports but unfortunately Dalton Knecht not being able to prove them wrong, as again he's not been very good and has been below average for some time now, playing poorly throughout Summer League, preseason, and pretty much everything that we have not been able to watch, as we simply can't confirm how good he's looked throughout training camp, which really isn't the same as 5-on-5 action, whether you're talking about the regular season or let alone even the preseason. And then to make matters worse, he really is missing out on a prime opportunity for himself. Following LeBron getting hurt, that did open up a spot in the rotation, theoretically could be filled by Dalton Knecht and probably was the favorite to get it, but he's simply wasting that opportunity, or simply not taking advantage of it. I mean, that was kind of the spot for him to fill, if they do in fact run a 10-man rotation, which many believe that they will. Even if they would alternate between a 9 or 10-man rotation, more often than not, Dalton Knecht likely would be in there, with LeBron being out. But with him not playing well and not really proving that he should be in the rotation, that might go to a different player. whether that be Maxi Kleba. If he can get healthy and stay healthy, I'd probably call him the favorite forward at this point, or even in a Thero if he can stay healthy, maybe even a combination of Christian Koloko, Bronny James, Chris Mannon, who knows. At this point, it's all on the table because Dalton Knecht has not been able to take it off the table. Not being able to prove himself, not being able to show that he can offer consistent value, and therefore he's not going to be a rotation player for them, at least not consistently at this point. However, does that mean it's time to give up on Dalton Knecht? That it's time to move on from him, even despite his negative trade value that's been reported? That there's no hope left for him to get back to what he once was? That he won't amount to anything and not be a reliable, long-term rotation player for their team? I wouldn't say that quite yet. Again, yes, he's not looking good right now, hasn't looked good throughout preseason, summer league, anything that we've been able to actually watch in the court for some time now. But the fact that you can actually point to production from him, whether you're talking about the 3-point shooting last season, when he started for their team, and yes, again, he did start for their team, averaging 17 points per game in that time frame on very good efficiency, you can point to actual production with him. It's simply about getting him back to that point or some form or fashion of that, which I think is a possibility. In fact, it might be a higher possibility than you might think, and I have some evidence to point to with it too. Yes, again, he's not looked good throughout preseason, nor summer league, but if you add in the fact that his supporting cast was not very good either, especially in regard to playmaking and ball handling around him, ability to find him and get him open on the court, that's a big thing for a guy like Dalton Knecht. No, he's not really an on-ball creator for himself. He can occasionally do it, but that's not his strong suit on the court. What Dalton Knecht is best at is moving off the ball and getting open through that, then having a playmaker create a shot for him, or finding him open at the perfect time on the court, which he really hasn't been able to play with in some time now. Throughout Summer League, his point guard was Bronny James, who really is not a point guard in my opinion, at least not at this point. Now throughout preseason, barely if ever has gotten to play with Luka Doncic, hasn't played with LeBron at all up until this point, even barely playing with Austin Reeves, so that's a big time missed opportunity taken away from him. Guys that aren't able to find him as well on the court, their offense not running as fluid and not getting him open on the court as much. I think that's a big time difference compared to last regular season, let alone even last preseason, where they had more of LeBron on the court, Austin Reeves on the court, even Anthony Davis who could attract attention and get Dalton Knecht open. I think that is something to factor in here and kind of point to why Knecht has not played well lately. No, I'm not completely resolving him from it. He definitely has missed open shots and simply has not looked quite the same, but I definitely will say he's been affected by that. Pointing to the lack of playmaking on the court with him, the lack of playmakers that are simply in the game and playing with him on the court, and the lack of fluidity within their offense that they're still trying to work through, I would point to all of that as something that has been affecting Dalton Knecht and his overall performance on the court. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.